back again, back again. So last time with this segment, we went through Naruto, and thank you to the fandom for getting it correct and choosing and voting for the Pain arc as the best arc, as I so eloquently stated. So we're back again here. This time we're going to talk about Bleach. So we want to go through some Bleach arcs, and yes, we know there are a lot of sub arcs, right? But we're going to try to keep it to like the major overlying of the arcs, and I have them written down so I don't forget, right? So we're going to talk about the Agent of Shinigami arc, Soul Society arc, the Bound arc, the Arrancar arc. Let's use this one as an example. So this is like pre-Wako Mundo when they pull up. This is Orohime being abducted, Wako Mundo, and Kuri Town, right? So that
Downfall,
the compromise of those sub arcs, we're gonna say, makes up the Arrancar arc, right? And you have the Lost Agent arc, and then the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. So we're gonna go through, say which one we think is the best arc. We'll have our little debate, even though I don't see room for debate because really there's only one right answer here. But today's segment is Bleach, and then we'll keep going through the tournament another day. But let me know if anyone wants to volunteer to start first. If not, I'm always up for it. Quan, I think I see you come off mute. Do you want to go first, or are you still thinking about it?
Nah, I don't. It's tough. Like this is a tough. Nah,
right.
I don't.
Go ahead, Rule. Jump. Just kickstart it.
Okay.
Kickstart it off. Jump start it.
All right. I didn't really want to do this, but yeah. So to me, when watching Bleach, the best arc to me, and I thought it was pretty clear, was the Soul Society arc. To me, in Shonen, that's some of the best world building I've seen. Once we go in, we meet the Gote 13, but we just see the Soul Society and everything it comprised of. It's like, wow, there's this whole world completely separate of anything that we've seen so far. And it's like a huge world. There's so much, right? You have the Serite. It's just like so many elements there, right? So Ichigo comes in and just raw talent, right? He's kind of going through the ringer. We're seeing all these cool captains. And then, but I mean, just like the storyline, the pacing, I thought everything was perfect. I remember the first time seeing it, literally couldn't stop watching. It's 4 a.m. I'm like, I gotta go to sleep. I get up in the morning. Nah, one more episode. And it's not often in anime that I get that feeling. And I think this is literally like the peak of the show. I'm not saying the whole show isn't good, but this is the peak. I would say this arc can rival a lot of top tier arcs in other anime. And I remember, I watched Bleach late, right? I watched Bleach in 2021, which means I'm fully aware on the internet that Aizen was like the main villain, right? But even watching it, the story was done so well, bro. I started questioning myself. I'm like, is Aizen the villain? I'm like, maybe I got that wrong. Right? So I can only imagine the people who watched it for the first time and didn't know the twist, the kind of impact that it had on them. Because even me watching it, knowing that Aizen's the amazing villain, I'm like, I thought Aizen's the bad guy. I'm like, nah, I must have read something incorrectly. I must have saw it incorrectly. And then the twist happens. And I'm like, no. And bro, the arc is just so crazy. Thinking about the main character, Ichigo, right? Obviously, he wasn't on Aizen's level. But just think about how many other arcs, literally the main character's theme song gets stopped by someone when Ichigo tries to cut him with the sword and Aizen stops it with one finger. I feel like that moment just left everyone speechless. But like I said, just the pacing, the storytelling, the world building, everything about that arc, the twist, I just think pure perfection. Best arc in Bleach to me. I think it's even so good that they tried to redo it again with the whole Orohime capture. I feel like they just like, nah, you know what? This recipe is perfect. We're going to try it again with this arc that comes later on down the line. But I mean, that's my spiel. I'll let anybody else go who wants to go.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a very good point. But 1,000-Year Blood War arc, I think with it being made now, I think the pacing kind of throws it off a little bit. But when you like read it for the first time, it's like, oh, like the same way you felt about like the Soul Society arc when the 1,000-year, it was like, yo, it's like, what just happened? It's like, wait, what? It was just, it's just so amazing, and it ties everything together. And it's like, you know how we always say like it's always an upset when we see like a character like the use of plot armor. It's like in this arc, a lot of clearly not the main character Ichigo, but a lot of other characters, like their plot armor gone, like gone. Like this is like when I think of anime, this is like pinnacle. Like the 1,000-year Blood War arc is and it's an introduction of new characters too. So if you thought like, and it's like throughout the whole show, you think Yamamoto is really the most powerful character, but in this arc, it's like an introduction of like three characters that's like more powerful than him, and it shows all of the characters that were a mystery that we didn't know, like Kisuke and everybody. It kind of shows their backstory and it shows their power. Even with Kenpachi, it kind of just it just brings a whole new level of like, I didn't think it can get any better than this. Like, and it just blows off the building. And I don't want to spoil you anything because I don't know if like I just want y'all to like read it and watch it for yourself because it didn't even finish. But I think the anime does a very good job, and I think it's a credit to the animation studio. It's just not getting the publicity that I think it deserves, and I think the marketing is kind of bad. But this arc, I really don't want to spoil you anything, but this arc is hands down like, because everything you were saying about the Soul Society arc, I can say about this arc, and
yeah, I'm not refuting any point that you made. I think it's a stellar arc. But the one thing that I want to say is, and we'll get into our defensive later. But one thing I want to say is, I think about what you're saying. I actually think that arc is done better in the manga, right? So let's get this straight. I think one's always going to be better, right? Either the manga or the anime. Something just has to be better, right? I don't think it's ever a tie. But what I wanted to mention about my arc was, I think it's so good that when you read it and you watch it, it's so good. When I watched the 1,000-year Blood War arc, I'm like, I feel like y'all kind of doing a disservice here. But that's the only thing
I can see that.
That's the only thing I want to say. But yeah, whoever goes.
I'm gonna let Mo go next. I want to go last.
All right, bet.
Okay.
So just to piggyback off of what Daquan said, it's tough, right? Because if we're using like manga, right, 1,000-year Blood War arc, easy, no question. Just the pacing, how dark it is, how they kind of fill up some holes, the plot twist in it, the characters, the writing, phenomenal, right? Especially tying, old man Genzek, like who he is to who he is at the end, and like the reveal of his name and how it's blocked off because of Ichibei actually removing his name from the first time Ichigo develops his Soul Society power to the end. Just that twist is phenomenal, right? Finding out who this the Kenpachi, like it's just so many layers in the 1,000-year Blood War arc. It just makes it like, in terms of just, if I'm using just the manga, easily the best. We're talking about world building, writing, plot, everything, but we're not talking about strictly the manga here, right? We're encompassing anime. And I feel like because the anime is ongoing and the pacing is not where I would want it to be, I can't say it's the best arc yet, right? So that brings me to what arc I think is the best arc, and I'm going to go with the Arrancar arc. I think this is a no-brainer. And the reason why I feel like it's a no-brainer, because we've had the most iconic moments in all of Bleach in the Arrancar arc, right? We have arguably, right, top 3 most iconic groups in all of anime with the Espadas in the Arrancar arc. Not only that, we have probably the most, I would say, pivotal or one of the most influential fights in all of anime between Ichigo and Aizen. These two forces, right, that were opposing each other since almost the very beginning, right? Because Aizen essentially played a role in Ichigo's birth of his powers and who he is. And for them to clash at the end, right, with Aizen with the Hogyoku, and then of course Ichigo ultimately sacrificing his powers to defeat Aizen and almost nearly lost at the end, was amazing, right? But not only that, those moments where you have other blooming threats such as Grimmjow versus Ichigo, that moment where Ichigo is trying to get it out the mud, he's fighting Grimmjow, and then at the end he's about to get stabbed by Grimmjow, and then Orihime starts screaming, and then he kind of was like, he looks, he stops and slashes Grimjoe. Like those moments, those iconic fights was amazing when he goes into his hollow form, right? Especially when he goes into his hollow form and he fights Ukuroa, his second form, and he just destroys him. Fire. You know what I mean? I feel like Ichigo did a lot. I would say there's pros and cons to each arc, right? But I feel like when you're coming off of the basis of the Soul Society arc, which is a phenomenal arc in and of itself, I attribute it to, so for instance, it's like you eating cake for the first time. You eat cake for the first time, let's say red velvet cake for the first time. And you're like, oh my God, this tastes amazing, right? And then you go and have another version of any type of cake. And you're like, oh, this is just as good. You're always going to remember the initial cake because of how it made you feel. So for the Arrancar arc to follow up with such an amazing arc with the Soul Society arc and still be at that level, can you imagine if the roles were reversed? If it was the Arrancar arc first versus the Soul Society arc, I don't think the Soul Society arc gets as much praise as it does because it's tough to follow up with the sequel that's just as good or even greater. We all know this, right? That's why most people rate prequels or like the first initial movie higher than the sequel. You will have to go above and beyond with the sequel to measure against what people initially thought. So I feel like the Arrancar arc just had too much. I feel like, some of the characters especially had time to grow, like just the development, and they actually added to the world building compared to the Soul Society arc. So for me, I think it's Arrancar arc easy.
Okay, I just want you to know you only saying that because they didn't animate the fact that was on your blood war arc right after. If they would have did it, if they didn't,
if they did it right, right after, then maybe
right after they were like right when they were supposed to and didn't wait so many years. I think.
Yeah, you're right because it's ongoing. So I don't know how they're gonna finish it. The animation is top notch for sure, but like it's still kind of ongoing, so it's kind of stifling. Like and I'm trying to like focus it more on like the anime as opposed to the manga, right? And not try to like because I know what the manga. Oh my God, you know how I feel about it's just phenomenal. But yeah, that's where I stand.
All right. So after everybody went, since I'm the most recent to watch it, and I did get to watch it back to back to back, everything, I'm going to have to side with Daquan on this one and go with the 1,000-Year Blood War arc as the best arc. Not because of animation alone, but for some of the points that he bring up. One thing I'm gonna say is kind of like 1,000-Year Blood War arc, even though it's ongoing, it's like the Shippuden to OG Naruto, and it's like things got a lot darker really quick, like really quick. I'm talking about like 4 episodes, 5 episodes in, you were seeing people who you thought had the utmost plot armor gone, and it's just like I was not expecting that because it's like he said, I thought Yamamoto was one of the strongest, if not the strongest, and to just see that there's for real like 3 to 4 other characters that got introduced that are seems like leagues ahead of where Yamamoto was. It's just like I don't know. And then like the world building, like Ichigo losing his Bankai and having to go back with Squad Zero, and now he got a whole new one and he's dual wielding like that. I think that's fire to see where that even goes. Seeing the turn, the Uryu turn, wasn't expecting that, and then he comes in instantly, is the right hand man, and he like seeing the long I don't know their names. They have like real German names or something, but the long blonde haired guy that was like right hand to Yuobaha, he the one that sliced Ichigo's Bankai, like he seems so strong. Like and then the backstories of people, like not backstories, but seeing like how smart people are, like Kisuke and the Yoshimitsu looking doctor, what's his name? Miryu. Like seeing how they work, like their brains bouncing off of each other, and seeing like, and then even too like the plot twist of like the Quincy's been inside of the Serite the whole time, like just there, and like that's fire. Like I was that you're not expecting that because I'm thinking like, okay, Uryu and his dad are like the only last survivors, but then it's like I kind of knew about Ichigo being a Quincy, so it's like he's not the only one. But then like seeing even like getting everything about Ichigo, like his Quincy, we haven't got everything about his Quincy backstory yet. I feel like we're still gonna get more about his pops and stuff like that too, maybe because I haven't read the manga, y'all have, but like just seeing from what I've seen in the anime, and then like even seeing Squad Zero, like text y'all about it. Like, I don't like the little trope of like how they're like goofy-ish and like silly standoffish at first, but then like when they need to lock in, they could really lock in. It's like seeing how strong they are was crazy. Like the Zanpakuto dude, he got like a limit. He's like Obito with the eyes. He got like a limitless supply of swords that he could always have. I forget the girl's name, but the girl, she was nice with it. Like I loved everything about the 1,000 Year Blood War arc. I literally was watching all of Bleach just to get to it. So like, and to see like, I don't know, seeing Yamamoto get sliced, that was like crazy work. Like I text you guys instantly, like, bruh. Then the Kenpachi stuff, like the I don't think anybody that was watching regular Bleach was gonna expect for Retsu to be the first Kenpachi. Like I didn't expect that, not one bit. But then it made sense why once it got revealed why she was never fighting for real in Bleach and why she had to become like this medic. So like I don't know. I think 1,000 Year Blood War does this a lot of justice, and I'm shocked it's not getting as much attention as it is. Probably because of what happened in regular Bleach with too much filler and it falling off from that. But it's top tier to me.
The Lost Asian arc. The Lost Asian arc is to blame for that. Almost buried them. Seriously, it literally almost buried them. But
that's the Fullbringer stuff.
Yeah, that almost buried them.
I actually liked it though. That's the crazy thing.
It fell off. You got to think it fell off from the Soul Society arc, then the Arrancar arc.
Yeah, it did.
Right, like right after you give us.
I get it. I mean, dropping week to week is definitely that is definitely bad. Me being able to watch it like episode after episode after episode and binge it definitely made it more tolerable. I could feel.
So I got a question, right? Because I think I want to turn this over to. I was gonna start with Rue, but since I want to go in reverse, right? So we'll start with Daquan and Smoke. I got a question for y'all. Since y'all ranking the 1,000 Year Blood War arc as the best arc, right? And manga aside, if we're talking about strictly the anime and because it's ongoing, do you think though you guys are ranked? Do you think the first question is, do you think you guys are ranking it too far ahead, even though the series is ongoing, right? Because what happens if it does just drop off or fall off?
That's like downfall.
It doesn't even finish, right? Like, do you think that's, or are you just judging it based off what you've seen thus far, and what you've seen thus far trumps everything prior to?
I am saying everything I've seen so far, and however many episodes, I think it's like 24 in 1,000 Year Blood War trumps all of I've seen in Bleach.
Dang. Okay.
But it's a wild statement.
Like I watched it in a different time than you guys did.
True.
You know? It's like
That's
I
true.
was able to binge everything in one sitting. Not one sitting, but like
straight through.
Yeah.
I mean that's true. I'll give you that because I didn't watch Bleach when I was little. I was real young when I watched Bleach, but I still think it's still a good arc regardless. Even if I watched it now and I went back to watch it now, I still think it would be a really good arc.
Of course, obviously just came back out.
Yeah, obviously I wouldn't like rank it the same as like my younger self now. I'll be more like I'll criticize it a bit more obviously now because I'm much older. My rubric is not the same compared to my 13-year-old self, 14-year-old self, right? But I still think it's still a good arc, you know what I mean? Regardless, you know, and I think, you know, there other people can attest to it, but I get it though, you know. Now, Daquan, did you want to answer that question as well? Or
I feel like I feel like I can't really give you. I can't answer it just because I read the manga.
You're going based off the manga.
Ago, so it's like I already know what to expect. I feel like if I was in Smoke's position where I didn't read the manga and I'm watching it for the first time, I think it would still hit the same.
Okay.
But I can't give you a definite just because it's like I already know how fire it's going to get, and it's
but if you don't use the manga, if you're just going based off anime, you're still saying regardless of what has happened thus far, transpired in the anime is enough to be like, you know what, based off the animation, based off of this, it's still number one in my book. That's what you're essentially saying.
Okay, so what was the last episode? Like where
Ichibei and Yuhabaha fighting, and he sliced his name in half, and then
so that was
kicked him down, and Yuhabaha was like falling, like, and then they cliffhang you with that, with like him falling and saying, I forgot what he says at the end of it, but he says
it's like basically like right before he awakens his almighty, essentially, right before that one.
there's a lot that happened. There's a lot. It's crazy because there's a lot more that's going to happen. But in that in itself, because it's like what? It's only what, like 13, 14 episodes a season. It's only what?
I
Yeah,
think it's
I feel like it's
12
I
or
feel like it's
13.
being rushed. I feel like they're
Me-
condensing a lot of
I know
episodes.
that's why. Okay, yeah. So in that case,
Yeah, and I'm gonna let Rue go, but I feel like because I feel like Rue's gonna piggyback off of this because I feel like that's some
nah,
like,
yeah,
it's
it
to
does. It matters just because I feel like watching. I'm so used to old anime pacing that you're giving me more in previous. Like when Bleach first came out with like the Arrancar arc and the Soul Society arc, you gave me more depth, and it's like for me, like I know the depth that's supposed to go into it, and me watching it, it's kind of unfair because like I feel like it's being rushed in a sense, and it's
Okay.
like I can't. If we're going based solely off, it's still very good. Like it's still very very good, but it's just no fact that I know it's missing something. Like if I'm just watching it for the first time without reading it, I'd probably be on the same train as Smoke. But I've read it, so it's like
Okay.
I know, and it feels like it's missing.
Okay.
I got another reason why I have it up there too is because like it's a more personal reason, but like I'm big on like lore, so like I just
Yeah,
want to know everything about everybody. So like I'm still super interested in Urahara. Like I want to know more about this dude and his brain because he
Okay.
seems like a crazy genius.
I'm
I want to
saying,
know
bro, they didn't even.
a lot
Bro,
about
there's so much
Ichibei.
stuff
You
that's
know,
going.
like I want to know. I want to know. Like I know it's the 1,000 years, whatever, but like I want to know. They gave us like a slight glimpse of when Yamamoto fought Yuabaha the 1,000 years ago, but like I'd love to know what really transpired and what caused all of it for real, for real. Like they kind of explain it, but like I feel like there's a real deeper meaning to it other than like power, you know? Because like I don't
Yeah,
know. And then I'm also interested in like the Soul King being Yuabaha's dad. Like what? Like that blows my mind. Like I want to know everything about that. That's so fire to me. There was nothing like that in Bleach, you know? So it's like just
Go ahead.
that stuff, like the lore it's real heavy for me too. So that's why I got it up there. Because I
yeah,
haven't even got all of Ichigo's backstory. Like I'd love
yeah.
to know everything, you know, more about his OG,
The thing that I
everything.
will say is that I think when it's completely animated, it still be number one. Like,
Okay.
but as of right now, with just the first two seasons, I can I can see the argument why it wouldn't be. But I feel like once it's fully animated, even with the pacing that it's at now, because bro, it's just so much. Like it's so much heat that like yo, I can't. Like I
Okay.
cannot put it number one when it's fully animated.
Okay. Go ahead, Rue.
All right. So let me ask these questions. I'm gonna go with you, Smoke, since you said
Yeah.
you're so big on lore. When we first enter the Soul Society, and then you have all these captains, and you have a guy who's supposed to be, he seems like he's pretty well respected, right? Good captain, strong captain, and it turns out to see, he's leagues above almost everybody else here, wrecks everyone. Then you start realizing there's factions, there's people, there's all these underlying like motives and everything. Wouldn't you say that opens up the door to wonder, like, there's a lot of lore there? Like, how did this guy get so powerful? What is his plans? Like, why is he doing this thing? You know what I'm saying? When Eisen first, like
Yeah.
I said, Eisen first twist and like I said, start wrecking stuff, right? And you're just like, wait a minute, this guy was okay. But I think what it's suffering from more recent watchers is people already knowing, what they know about
I
Bleach. Like
think yeah.
Eisen's been, I'm saying, like, you have to put your shoes in someone who has never ever heard of Bleach, bro. That was mind blowing for them, right? But
Yeah.
nevertheless,
Yeah.
what I
But
want
then
to ask
even
you,
then, like off my first watch, like even saying that, so like even seeing how powerful Aizen got, it made me more intrigued on Urahara than it did Aizen because it kind of seemed like you kind of know about Aizen, you know, like they make you feel like you know about him, and Urahara just has this mystery behind him because it's like, why did Aizen want to get the Hogoku from him, the one that he made? If Aizen already made one, why'd he need Urahara? You know, so it's like it just makes me the lore ties back to Kisuke, because like, why is dude so smart, and why did Aizen have to have his Pogo Q2 if he already had one? Like, I get it, he fused them and then he fused with them, but it's like, if he was so smart and he was so good, why he didn't do that on his own? It just makes it ties back to Kisuke after that. Like, I get it, it's Aizen the one performing the acts and stuff, but it's like, there's still so much, because even when I got the backstory of why Kisuke got kicked out, and then he still has the mystery of, he has that little shop in the world of the living, and he was able to help Ichigo, like just him able to help Ichigo unlock the
Bankai.
his abilities, like his Zanpakuto, turning him into a hollow to do it. Like, acts like that were just like, it tied the lore always back to Kisuke for me for some reason, because like, I want to know about this dude because he seems like a genius, and they're not giving me no info on him.
And he's one of the five threats.
Okay. Let me ask you this, Daquan. Hold on. Now, for someone who's, you read the manga, now you're watching the anime. When you watch the anime and you seen Ichibei versus Yuarbach, did that live up to the hype to you, or what was your honest feelings on watching that animated?
No, yeah, it did. I think the fight, I think the animation and the fights in Thousand Year Blood War arc are better than the previous ones. I think oh my god, that Yamamoto fight. The only fight
I'm about to get up, but the Yamamoto fight, that
Yamamoto fight, bro. That fight was, oh my god, bro.
Even that too, like,
you
about how sending out the fucking Stern Ritter, and then he's down there talking to Aizen, trying to negotiate a deal with Aizen. Like, I don't know. Thousand Year Blood Work has so much to happen in such little amount of episodes.
I'll say this:
the only fight that you can argue that's better is the Ichigo versus
Ukiura.
Versus who?
Yeah, that's literally it, bro. There's no other fight that you would put on par.
Ukiura.
So I'm gonna tell y'all this. I think in Mo's arc he has a top 5 fight, and I think I have a top 5. The first time you watch Ichigo at the end of
what fight you talking about? What fight you talking about, bro?
You talking about
Ichigo versus Byakuya?
Yeah, that's a top 5 fight.
Okay.
That's a top 5 fight.
That's not better than the Yamamoto fight, bro. That's not better than the Yamamoto.
That's one of my favorite fights ever, and I think that's one that, like, the way he stunned it on Byakuya when he turned Bankai, fire. But
yes.
In terms of animation, I can see why you're saying, because the Yamamoto and Yuba fight was OD. I'm not gonna lie.
That and then the build, it was like the build up, and the fact that he wasn't even at 100%, bro.
And then the Bankai being
better because the animation's more recent. The animation's more recent, so it looks better. But I'm talking about the full totality, like the fighting, the animating, the emotional investment, everything. I feel like the Ichigo versus Ukiura and the Ichigo versus Byakuya top any fights that I've seen so far in the 1,000 Year Blood War animated.
No, absolutely not, bro. You got to think about the emotion, bro. That Yamamoto fight.
I'm on the fence.
It had.
I can be convinced either way.
It had the build up. It had emotion behind it, and bro, his vice captain, who he was with forever, just got killed, and he had to hold back from fully releasing his banka. He never released his banka ever. He had to, even when fighting, he still had to hold back because he still cared for everybody else that was in Soul Society. So he had to hold back, and he wasn't even fighting that full strength because he didn't even have his arm. And you got to think about it. He's the captain. He's the captain of captains. Like, there's no more emotion you put into the captain. He's been the captain of captains since day one. So it's like, when he passed, the amount of rage that went through the entire Soul Society, and on top of that, think about it. Like, the entire Soul Society, all the captains, they wanted to rage. They couldn't even do anything because they Bankais was getting stolen, bro.
So I disagree that there's no more emotion that can go into it, because yes, Yamamoto is a great character, but throughout the series of Bleach, they haven't given us that much Yamamoto to say, okay, everyone's so emotionally invested in Yamamoto, bro. But I don't think everyone's super emotional there, bro. When Ichigo bro, when Okiura pulled out that second form, bro, people were like, yo, what chances do Ichigo stand now, bro? Like, that was crazy, bro.
I will say this, right? As a person
Yeah.
on the fence on both sides. Oh, go ahead, Ru. I didn't know if you was done.
No,
Go ahead.
I was saying, unfortunately, I think I do think Yamamoto fight is amazing. I was saying, it looks amazing. The stakes were high, but I think unfortunately, when it comes to anime, I think what you're gonna suffer from with that fight is it doesn't include the person we've been on the journey with, right? Like Ichigo versus Byakuya. From the moment Ichigo goes through those doors, just how far he made it in that short amount of time towards the end of that, bro. That journey is amazing,
but it
bro.
does though. But it does because he's the one responsible for building everything, and he's been there since day one. So granted, you might not have seen him. You might have wanted more of him, but compared to Ichigo, the main character, it's like, yo, look at the after effects. Look at go back and watch that episode or read the manga and look at the after effects of when the captains realized he died, bro. Just look at the after effect. Like, it was.
I'm not telling you the stakes
devastated.
is not higher. I'm not telling you the stakes is not higher. I'm talking about at the moment that you're first seeing them, bro. The Ichigo Byakuya is a better fight. Ichigo Okiura is a better
No.
fight, right?
You
Because
talking about
because at that
watching
time
it
in the
for the first time?
because what like I said, what you're suffering from is recency bias, right? So we know everything that
No,
happened.
but
We
I've
know this.
already
But at
known it
the
was
time
gonna
when you
happen.
first see Ichigo fight Byakuya, and you don't know what's next. That's almost as high as the stakes get at that time. You know what I'm saying? So what you're saying now is, okay, we know what happened in the past. We know everything's all right. So right now, this is the biggest threat. So that makes it better.
All right, let me say this, Daquan. Let me just say this. Let me just say this real quick, because I think as a person on the fence, I can see both points. I do think it could be a situation of recency bias, but I also see a situation where it's just bias just from first watching it and how you felt, and now it's hard to like trump that moment, right? So I can see kind of both sides there. For me, like I said before, maybe I'm suffering from that bias when I first seen Byakugan and Ichigo fight, when he revealed his Bankai and he fronted on him, when he point blank range had his blade to his neck. That was OD to me, right? But maybe I'm just suffering from that moment and how it made me feel. I would say this, right? For both points. To Daquan's point, Yamamoto is not a character that just kind of came out the woodworks. We know who Yamamoto is. We know he's very prideful. We know what type of character he is, right? And we know he represents the pinnacle of strength in the Bleach universe. So I think in the manga, of course, right, they give us more. His mourning, it gives us a lot more to kind of feel for him. In the anime, however, of course, we didn't really get much of that. However, when you're talking about fights, yes, the animation, Yamamoto, Yoba, they got most fights beat. They got that department. When you talk about like the emotional aspect to it, I can see some parts of the emotional aspect of, okay, they have history. Okay, they're getting, these Soul Reapers are dying now. There's more at stake. That emotion of like, dang, we're at war and this is do or die. I
Bro,
get that
your general just got off, bro.
right? But in comparison to Ichigo coming to Soul Society, getting it out the mud, this is the moment. This is his moment.
Yeah.
This is basically a do or die. I gotta save Rukia because her brother is trying to smoke her, and this guy's in my way. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like he's like, I'm more of a big brother to her at this moment than you ever been. You know what I mean? And I feel like we started to see the fruits of Ichigo's labor. That moment of him surpassing and breaking through his ceiling at that moment, I think that means a lot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So personally, for me, I could be convinced either way, right? But I do think we got to consider both sides. And like to Daquan, your point, I get, but I feel like also like you're factoring in also the manga also, because when you're considering the manga.
No, look, because the manga matters. Because it's like even way before this was animated, when that fight came out, I remember we were talking about that fight like, yo, this crazy, like this is OD, like just that before it was even animated. And then we said it multiple times, like, yo, if this gets animated, this is gonna go crazy.
Yeah, we did say that. That's
years ago, bro. So it's like I can't even give you the recency bias thing, because I've said it. We've said it years ago, like way before it was even animated, that it was gonna do what it did. And when you were just explaining the emotional, like that with Ichigo and Byakuya and And I'm like, yo, even when you were saying, I'm like, yo, that's still there's still more emotion in Yamamoto.
I will say this about the. I will say this though. I will say this about the Byakugan. I feel like the only thing you may have in that fight, with Ichigo versus Byakugan, is we didn't really know much about Byakugan. It's kind of like the same with Yuaba, right? We really didn't know. We knew he was a captain. We knew he was his brother, but we didn't really know. So I feel like we kind of got that with you because we don't really know at that point. We don't really know who Yuaba really is. We just know he's a villain. So my question to you, Daquan, is like, I guess who is perceived to be more of a villain at that point? Is it Byakugan or is it Yuaba?
Yuaba, because you got to go back to what Smoke is saying about the lore, like because think about it, it's a constant buildup throughout the series of a war between Quincy and Shinigami. So it's like, it's a constant war, right? And he's like the king of the Quincy's. Like he
challenged you from what you learned afterwards.
No, he already has the lore. Like they already put him on that pedestal from before even introducing him. Where it's like you don't get that from Byakuya. Like you don't get that from him. We already have the lore of Yuaba there. And he's not even at full strength. So it's like, yeah, I would say he's more of a villain at that point.
So you're saying the fight itself. Oh, go ahead, Ru.
So at the time when you were first going through this and the fight is first happening, at that instant moment, you were like reading it and saying, oh, this is the dude and he's not even at full strength. At the first time you were experiencing this fight, that's what you're saying? Like,
no, because they already said they was
his arm.
Yeah.
Wait, who you talking about full strength?
No, I'm talking about Yuaba, because you remember he has to wait a certain number of days in order to get his full power back. So he wasn't even at full power, which is why he didn't fight him originally, because he was like, yo, if I fight you now, I'm not going to win.
But wasn't this
Ru's asking like, yeah, go ahead, Ru.
Wait, what?
Wasn't this information revealed afterwards though?
Yes.
No.
Nah, it was
his build up.
Oh, you talking about his abilities, like
his abilities and his build up was.
But I'm talking about when he fought, when he confronted Yamamoto at that moment, right?
That moment he was the main villain. Because think about it, they're at war. You're already at war. The Quincy's already invaded. They already gave up the goods. Like, yo, we've been here the whole time. Like, so the Quincy's, they're at war. They're already killing everybody. And their general is in a fight with your general, and he just smoked your general. Like, I don't.
So you're encompassing Yamamoto's death a part of that, like the
aftermath. No. Because even if he doesn't die, like they're
I feel
at
like
war.
Plays a role in like how great that fight is. Also,
no, yes, it does, but it's like it's just the circumstances. Like, yo, you're literally at war. Like both sides are getting killed, but the Quincy's are just overpowering the Shinigami at that point, where in the Soul Society arc, it's a conflict, so to say. It's like a internal kind of family conflict that Ichigo kind of puts himself in the middle of. So when you think about it like that, and then from like that conflict to an actual war being fought, I feel like the stakes are just.
But what I'm saying is you're using the information afterwards. What Mo is saying, at the time when Byakuya is trying to smoke Rukia, like what is your perception of him at that very time? The first time?
No, that's what I'm saying. At that time, he's the older brother who just has a superiority complex. He has an extreme superiority complex as one of the top captains, and it's like a cultural thing within their family that they have an internal family conflict, and Ichigo just has this attachment bond to Rukia because Rukia was the one who saved them and introduced them into the world. So he just inserts himself into a family conflict, and which changes the landscape of what we know it to be. But in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, it's an actual war going on. Like it's a war, bro. Like it's literally history, thousands of years of history being fought at that moment, right then and there.
No, bro,
All right.
bro. Look, I mean, I keep going forever, right? But like, I'm gonna say this, right? I mean, you guys both picked it, so I mean, from voting standpoints, right? We're at a deficit. I would like to though create a poll about the best fight in Bleach, right? Between
Then we should
let's
do
do
a
the
video
Yamamoto
about it.
Yuabak, let's do the
Ichigo.
Byakuya Ichigo and the Okiura Ichigo, and you know, let's see what people's perception is. Like I said, I fear what's happening here is, oh, I just seen this, or this looks the best. Because Daquan, you must admit you're an action kind of person, right? You're action over emotion, right? This is why Rock Lee versus Gaara is better than Naruto versus Sasuke to you. This is correct, right?
Yeah.
Because it's all just about the action and the back and forth. It's not necessarily about
it's not
the build up to this climactic moment here. Is this correct or is this wrong?
It's not just about the action, bro. It's not just about the action, it's about the characters too. You talking about just about the action?
It's about how it looks to you.
It's about the characters.
I mean, based off,
But no. But
matters.
but me,
But it's
I'm,
not
I'm
everything.
a big,
It's not everything.
I'm a big side character person.
Okay.
So you have side character bias. That's what it is.
I mean, if you want to, go ahead.
He said soccer. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I'll say this: both y'all both got some good points. I don't think like anyone is saying anything saying what anyone's saying here is egregious. Like, you know what I mean? I think I just think it comes down to what weight you're putting on your rubric, right? Like in terms of animation, build up, emotion, like how many points you're willing to put in each of these pots, which is going to ultimately determine whether or not, you know, you see which fight being the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do think animes now, they have the advantage of animation.
Yeah, that's why you can't even use the animation.
So they have the advantage, but I do think the older anime has, I don't want to say an advantage, but they used to do a really good job of just like building up some of these fights and just having some emotional aspect. And one thing I'm going to add to Daquan too, because I think this plays a role maybe in some of my biases when I watch certain when I used to watch certain animes growing up versus now. I feel like the scores back then, like the soundtracks back then, was just significantly better, especially during the fight scenes.
Yeah,
I feel like that also amped up a lot of the, you know.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, I will say that I feel like even if it wasn't animated now and was still animated back then, I think it would have still been
better. Okay,
yeah, I think.
Bro, let me give y'all my final gripe with the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, the anime. Bro, Soundscape to Ardor, bro. Historically, throughout Bleach, when that OST came on, bro, you knew like, yo, damn, this is as real as it's about to get. It's about to go down. As I'm watching the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, they're just using this for no good reason, bro. Like, you're killing the song, bro. I think it was when the Doghead captain was fighting, they put it on. Like, what are you doing? This dude don't get this OST. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Him? I'm like, nah, bro.
Scores matter. Soundtracks matter.
Bro, it does, bro. That's why I feel like I don't know who in charge over there, bro. But they should have put this on Crunchyroll. I don't know why they put it on.
Bro, imagine Kiba getting Pain's theme during a fight. You like, what are you doing right now, bro? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Bro. Any which way, man. So all right, let's do our votes then, right? So I mean, two of you guys have it as number one, right? But we should vote. So we only have 3 arcs here, so we should vote. What's the number 3? What's the number 2 and the number 1? Correct, Mo?
Correct. So yeah, so I guess we can start with Daquan, Smoke, Rude, then I'll end with myself.
Sure.
So
arcs,
top 3. Yeah, what's your top 3? You got 1,000-Year Blood War arc as number 1, but like you can go in order following that.
1,000-Year, Soul Society, and then the Arrancar arc. I have the Arrancar arc under the Soul Society arc.
Okay. Smoke.
I might have it differently. I think I got it the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, the Arrancar arc, and then the Soul Society arc. Okay. Just because I feel like the Arrancar arc gave us 2 forms from Ichigo that we're definitely not seeing again. That I feel like a lot of people, including myself, were like fell in love with the first sight they seen it, and then figuring out, well, we're never gonna see that again. It's like, but I don't know. I still like it a lot. The Soul Society is fire too, because like it's the world building, it's the introduction to everything, and you see Ichigo get it out the mud, but then like I even text you guys like, all right, I'm kind of waiting to see Ichigo get into this action for real, and then the Arrancar is when it really starts to pop off. So I got that number 2.
Okay. All right. So and then go ahead, Ru.
Yeah, so I would go. To me, I'm gonna say Thousand Year Blood War arc is number 3. I'm gonna go Arrancar number 2, and I'm gonna go Soul Society number 1.
All right. So I think no matter because I'll be outvoted regardless of how I vote. Because
Yeah,
So I guess wait, hold on.
We all got our own.
Yeah, we all got our own, but if we're doing like a point system, right? Y'all two got the 1,000-year blood war arc as number 1, obviously.
yeah. So it's gonna win. Yeah,
I got
That's
that
gonna win.
I mean,
Like the
Rue got a
best arc.
Arrancar at 2.
Yeah, so that's gonna win by default. Yeah, it's over. That's gonna win. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So oh, go ahead. I don't know if you had
no,
a
just out
follow.
of curiosity, I still want to hear your order.
Oh yeah. So for me, I'm on the fence. I'm not gonna lie. Rue kind of was like convincing me. I ain't gonna lie to put Soul Society arc as number 2. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I would probably, but I'm. So if I'm encompassing everything, obviously, right? Like I said before, 1,000-year blood war arc will probably be my number 1 arc, right? Easily. But if we're going strictly off the anime, and because it's ongoing, and just strictly off the anime, no manga, I'm probably gonna go Arrancar arc, Soul Society arc, and then 1,000-year blood war arc as it's ongoing, right? Because it's unfinished. I just can't. I don't feel comfortable really. I just got to be fair because I do it with other animes as well. So that's the only reason why I'm ranking it like that.
Yeah. So we're gonna move the 1,000-year blood war arc on. So it's moving on from Bleach. The pain arc moved on from Naruto. We're gonna do this again with some other animes. I think I gotta look at the list, but we might have Hunter x Hunter next. Can't lie. After this, I'm a little bit nervous at what you guys are gonna say about that one, man. I don't know.
No, don't do that, bro. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm scared what y'all go. Nah,
greed. These dudes about to have Greed Island as number 1.